don't remember the trauma that you, say you got molested when you was 3. Say you got molested when you was 5. You might have stuffed that information. You might have stuffed that information just to get over it. And every time it pops up in your head, you push it right back down. If it try to come up even a little bit, you push it right back down. No, I ain't dealing with that. And try to forget about it. But you hear what I'm saying? But if it keep coming up, it's trying to get healed. I'm gonna use myself as an example, because the only reason I use myself as an example, I used to be ashamed, man, that I got molested when I was a kid. When I was 3 and 4 years old. Bro, I was ashamed of myself. I forgot all about it. We lived in Miami when I was a kid, when this was going on. We lived with my grandfather, actually, when this was going on. And the person who was babysitting us was molesting us. Wasn't my grandfather, it was somebody he had in the house babysitting us. So I'm like 3 or 4. So I'm like 18 now, right? I'm in Ohio. I'm looking through my mom's box, man, trying to find my social security card, trying to find my birth certificate so I can go and get me a driver's license and a permit test and all that other stuff. I'm looking for that. And I come up and I find this picture. True story, bro. I see this damn picture. And I'm looking at this picture, man. It's a kid that's like maybe 4 years old. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, you know how back then those commercials was popular, where you get those kids in Africa, where you can adopt a child, and they'll send you a picture of the child, and then you can see the progress of the child, and you keep sending money, and then they'll have a commercial say like, Obi, she's been taking care of Obi since he was 3 years old, and now he's 7, and look at him, and you see the kid he's been eating, and you see the before and the after. I thought my mom had been sending money to one of those kids in Africa, and that's what was going on. Like, I didn't know my mom was doing this, and the more I looked at that picture, I started looking in the eyes of it. That was me, man. That was a picture of me when I was 4 years old, when I lived with my granddaddy. I didn't even recognize myself. I'm like, damn, that's what I looked like. That's what they did to me. And then I remembered. That's how I remember being molested. It all came back when I looked at that picture. Before that, right? It had been affecting me without me even knowing it. Because I was always fighting. I was always, man, from kindergarten, middle school, all through high school, most of my young adult life. To live like that. And I used to always wonder, where the hell did all this anger come from? That's where it came from. All those memories come flooding back, bro. As soon as the memories came flooding back, I became ashamed. Like, how can you let that person molest you? Like, that's what I'm saying to myself. How could you let that happen? How did you let that happen to you? I beat up on myself. And then one day, bro, this is where it changed, bro. My sons was over at the house, and my oldest son at the time was like 6 years old. He was like 6 years old. And they were sitting in front of me, man, playing a video game. And I'm just sitting behind them, watching them play the video game, enjoying themselves. And I started looking at them, and my son was 6 years old. I said, hold up. When that happened to me, I had to be about 3 or 4. My son, who was 6, if that babysitter was trying to do the same thing to him, there was nothing at 6 years old he could have done. You got a person that's 18 or 19 that's molesting you. There ain't nothing a 6-year-old can do. You ain't gonna fight him. You ain't gonna reason with him. You're gonna do whatever an older adult who is in authority asks you to do. So if my son at 6 years old couldn't stop it, how could I stop it at 3 or 4? Putting it in perspective by looking at my own children. And when I looked at it like that, I felt ashamed of myself. I owed myself an apology, bro. Because I had to realize, man, at 4 years old, there was nothing you could do. I had to forgive myself. Not just forgive myself, but apologize to myself for making me feel bad for something I couldn't control. When I forgave myself over the molestation stuff, bro, it was like lifting a brick off of my chest. The first time I talked about it with another person, bro, it was like therapy. The first time I spoke about it during a lecture, after the lecture, about 2 or 3 dudes you wouldn't even imagine came up to me and said, bro, thank you for saying that, man. Because that happened to me and I felt the same way. That's the only reason I bring it up. That's the only reason I bring it that past up, because it don't affect me at this point. But if I can talk about it and help somebody who's stuck get out of that shell and become a whole person, because it's not your fault.